Hey guys, Monke AU here with another video, and today we're going to be going through my UFC 311 predictions. One of the best UFC cards we've actually had in a while, and a great way to start off 2025. I'm going to be skipping the prelims, but there are some really interesting fights there. Obviously, we've got Peyton Talbot and Gelton Almeida. Those are easy fights to predict, just bet on those guys. And yeah, I'm really excited for this card, but going straight to the main card, Kevin Holland versus Reiner de Ridder. I'm going to go with de Ridder by decision, and originally I was going to go with Kevin Holland, but the more I think about it, de Ridder's simply just got more keys to victory. The thing is if you can get Holland on the ground, which is pretty doable, that means he will, number one, be able to get control time to go to a decision, and he can threaten submissions the whole time when he's there, right? Now, Holland does have good jiu-jitsu. He has submitted quite a few guys, but I don't know the strengths of his game against submissions. Now, also, you do have to remember that Holland's keys to victory in this fight would definitely be by knocking out de Ridder, getting him with a counter, a slick counter or something like that, as de Ridder goes blitzing in, kind of DDP style. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. Maybe not. Holland is really 50-50. The thing is I want to bet on him, but I can't because, you know, going back a couple fights, he nearly got chinned immediately by the Polish guy that Shara Bullet fought, right? He nearly got chinned by him and then hit a random armbar out of nowhere, right? So that was crazy. But then on paper, he should have mauled Roman Dolidze, but then he has a freak incident or a freak injury, right? So he's really inconsistent. But I don't know. I just think that Reiner de Ridder, assuming his chin can hold up, I think he has just more methods of victory against Kevin Holland than Kevin Holland does against Reiner de Ridder. And I don't know, frankly, this could really be 50-50. I'm leaning slightly towards de Ridder. I would not bet on this fight. Should be interesting though. We'll see if this ONE FC double champ is legit or not. And, you know, based off his first fight, I'm going to say probably not legit. So who knows? Next fight, Renato Moicano versus Beneil Dariush. Now, originally I was going with Moicano, but the more I've listened to other people talk about it, the more I think about it, I think Dariush could win this by decision, because the thing is Moicano, his game plan relies on taking you down, then hitting you with a relentless ground and pound, right? Not necessarily knocking you over and then going for the ground and pound, right? He has to take you down first. And Dariush, you know, despite the fact he's been brutally knocked out twice now, I think he's got very solid fundamental wrestling and jiu-jitsu defense, which makes me think that Moicano may not be able to take him down. Now, who knows? Moicano has been on a run recently, and if he's studied enough tape on Dariush, then maybe there's an opening, maybe he'll get him down. But Dariush's striking is better than Moicano's, and like I said, Moicano would have to take down Dariush first, which I don't know would happen necessarily. So if this is the case, then you'd end up in a scenario where Dariush is just gonna have the better striking, gonna be able to resist the takedown, and will probably win a decision. And this isn't just me hating on Moicano. I was like one of the only guys who thought it was going to beat Benoit Saint-Denis. You can go back and watch my videos on that. But I don't know. I've just got a feeling that Dariush could make a comeback. Obviously, I want Moicano to win. I want him to go on a run. But I've just got this feeling that Dariush could probably pull off a decision. But, you know, he's got some good wins under his belt. Like, he got Tony Ferguson back in the day. He's got Gamrot, who is a very, if you think about it, kind of similar to Moicano, right? And that he's a pressure wrestler who will hit you with a lot of ground and pound, right? As we saw in the Dan Hooker fight. I just think Dariush is going to pull through in this. And if he's a reasonable underdog, so I think it could be good to put just a little bit of money on this guy. Anyway, third fight, Yuri Prochazka versus Jamal Hill. This one is really tricky to pick. It's basically dead even, except there's a very slight edge to Hill. And I understand that, and that's what I'm going to go with. I think if you want to make money guaranteed on this fight, just say it does not go the distance, because that's obvious. I mean, there's no way that either of these guys are going to hit a submission or go to a decision. I seriously doubt. The reason why I'm going to go with Jamal is that I think Yuri Prochazka, the problem is, and everyone else who has done a video has pointed this out, is that his head movement is just so bizarre. He ends up putting himself in bad situations. Like, rewatch the second Pereira fight, and Pereira will punch or go for a body shot, but Yuri will dip into it, blocking his body with his head, right? And the problem is if Yuri comes forward in a bit of a crazy blitz, throwing an elbow, dodging in weird angles, it may be enough to throw off Jamal initially, but I think it's just a matter of time until Jamal gets the timing down right, and then we'll just counter him immediately, brutally, right? And you know what? Despite what people think about him, Jamal Hill makes a good point in that when Yuri fought Pereira, he got systematically destroyed, right? Except in the first fight, but after round 1, Pereira caught on, right? Hill got caught. It's the truth. And if you want to look at the people these guys have fought, put it this way: Yuri went to life and death with Glover Teixeira, and Jamal Hill systematically shut him down for 5 rounds. So I just think that Jamal will get this one done. But then again, Yuri, I think the longer this goes on, the more likely Hill's going to win. Do I think this ends in the first round? Probably. I say 50% it does finish in the first round. There's no way it finishes in the third, second, well, maybe the second, but this one definitely will end in a knockout. And it should be a good fight, There's a little bit of beef going into this, so it will be interesting to see this one settled. Co-main event, Umar Nurmagomedov versus Merab Dvalishvili. Like everyone else in their dog, I think Umar's going to win this by decision. And I say this because if we really break down who gave Merab the hardest fight, it was actually O'Malley, right? And the reason is because he was fearing the long, rangy striker who, whilst he was susceptible to the takedown, if he messed up, he could have got caught, right? And say what you want, I personally haven't actually rewatched the fight since, but apparently the Sean O'Malley-Merab fight was way closer than we remember. So if Merab is relying on having the superior wrestling, it's not good when he's going up against a guy like Umar, because Umar has the same quality wrestling as Merab, maybe even a little better, considering he's trained with the likes of Khabib and Islam. And you have to remember that Umar primary fighting style was being a striker, not a wrestler. He was a striker, then he became a wrestler. So he's got very rangy, in, out, long strikes that is exactly the perfect kind of thing that Merab fears and the kind of thing that he's going to have to deal with. And I don't think there's a scenario where even if Merab gets him against the cage, not necessarily, because Merab doesn't really go for takedowns. He does go for takedowns, but he works you to the cage. He doesn't work you in the center of the octagon to get a submission. And frankly, he'll let you back up sometimes just to reset position. And Umar, even if he is against the cage, he can reverse positions, he can do everything, and he's capable of putting people in really bad positions as well. Do I think he puts Merab in a bad wrestling situation? Maybe not, but I think he's going to outpoint him every single round, eventually to a decision. But who knows? I mean, the argument that a pissed off Merab is the best Merab only really works against Jan, to be honest, because let's just be real. Jan, whenever he's fighting, Jan is primarily a striker, and then he's a wrestler, right? And the only times that Jan executes wrestling really well against the likes of people like Song Yadong and Corey, who aren't necessarily wrestlers first, right? So if Umar is able to systematically shut this guy down, they're just different fighters. Petr Yan is not close to Umar, and Umar has all the skills to beat Dvalishvili. So I just think it's unfortunate, but the Nurmagomedov era in bantamweight begins. And frankly, I think he's going to stay there for a long time, because if he can really hone in the wrestling. Well, no, frankly, if he beats Merab, there's really no one left in the division other than a Sean O'Malley fight. And then he can fight people like Petr Yan, maybe Corey again, Figueiredo. Just build up a resume, and then maybe one day you can go to featherweight. Maybe you can even give Merab another fight. Who knows? But I think Umar will get this done. Main events, Islam Makhachev vs. Arman Tsarukyan 2. Now, this one I think is actually way closer than people think. Even though the odds have it $4 for Arman, $1 for Islam. I think what this is going to come down to is hot take. I think Arman's wrestling is actually better than Islam's. I think his fundamental wrestling is more aggressive and better than Islam, because frankly, people are able to evade Islam's wrestling a lot, right? Like Poirier schooled Islam remarkably. Like I could not believe it when I was watching. Poirier was able to get out of positions, and at some points he was just doing brute force dumb stuff, like just pushing Islam off him in the third round or the fourth round, saying get the F off me. I think if Poirier was in there against Tsarukyan, way different story. It's just interesting that I think it's all about styles, right? Because Islam is aggressive enough to beat Oliveira, but I think Oliveira beats Tsarukyan if they ever fought again. So I don't know. I think Islam's striking is better than Tsarukyan's though. So you put it this way, if either one of them are shooting takedowns on one another, Islam will be able to resist the takedowns most of the time, right? Or more so than Tsarukyan. And also he's got better striking than Tsarukyan. May not be as creative, but he's got better fundamentals, right? I really don't see a world where Arman beats him. I don't think he knocks him out. and I don't think he submits him. So realistically, the only way Arman could win is through a decision. But again, because Islam will probably outpoint him with the striking, and it's really unlikely he'll just be controlled for rounds after rounds after rounds, it's pretty likely Islam's going to win. So you know what? I can understand why the odds are so skewed towards Islam. But it should be a great fight, you know. After this, I think Islam really should go up to welterweight. One problem is if Sorokin does win this somehow, he's going to seriously fuck up the division because, yeah, Islam's basically cleaned out the division and we want to see him go on to do greater things. It'll be a great fight, though. I'm really excited. This is definitely one of the best pay-per-views we've had in a long time. So, yeah, guys, leave a comment down below. What do you guys think about these predictions? Are they right? Are they wrong? Are they outlandish? Which fight are you guys most personally excited for, and how do you think the fights are going to go down? Make sure to leave that all down below. Check out my other videos. Yeah, and I've got some other videos cooking up. I've just been really lazy as of recent, so watch out for those, and I'll see you guys in the next video.